Welcome to the BBC Easy Banker Training video. Here, bankers will learn the details of how to use BBC Easy. Welcome to an easier way. There are two sides to BBC Easy, the banker side and the business side. This helpful, full-circle process starts with the banker defining the borrowing base parameters and then connects to the business so data can be retrieved with the click of a button, providing everything needed to complete the borrowing base certificate. Let's look at this in more detail.
Okay, let's dive into the training. Start by logging in to BBC Easy. For the sake of this exercise, we're signing in as banker@constantbank.com. When you log in, you're first presented with your dynamic dashboard, which helps prioritize your daily work activities based on borrower health. Items that need to be addressed float to the top, such as overdue BBCs and borrowers who have not yet activated their account. We also provide an at-a-glance summary of each borrower's line penetration and BBC status. For instance, if a BBC has been approved, declined, or is simply waiting for review, you can easily maintain relationships by sending messages to your borrowers right from your dashboard. Let's now look at your account. Here you can update your account information such as name, email address, phone number, and password. Under Notifications, you can modify the automated email alert system so that you and your businesses get the notifications you want. Simply check or uncheck which notifications you want to be sent. The My Account page is also where you see a list of the lenders and businesses you've been assigned. If you have administrative access, you can follow the Edit button to change the user list for that particular entry. We'll review that in more detail later in the training. First, let's see what it looks like to set up a new business. Click Add Business and start by entering the company's name. We can then set an optional risk level and NAICS code. These values are not used in any calculations, but you may already use them for your personal reporting. In this example, let's use Delta Demolition with a risk level of 3 and a NAICS code of 123456. Then we move on to the BBC parameters themselves. Under the General section are features specific to BBC Easy. You can require borrower attestation, request baseline months, set a due date, and add any other notes or instructions you'd like the business to see when they fill out a BBC. By default, new businesses will be required to provide a digital signature when they submit their borrowing base. By typing their name, they certify that the borrowing base calculations are accurate. Baseline months are the number of month ends captured during the initial linking of business data. This allows you to go back in time to view the history of the business without having them submit multiple historical BBCs. Setting a due date will allow you to automatically notify your borrowers when a BBC is due and track whether a BBC has been submitted or is past due. In this case, let's set a 6-month baseline with a monthly due date of the 15th of the month, notifying them 3 days before the due date, and include the note, "Please submit BBCs monthly." Next, I'll give them a $100,000 credit limit. I also have the option of advancing on other credits the business may have, but I'll ignore it for this demonstration. Now let's set up the detailed parameters. You're able to set different attributes across accounts receivable, inventory, and fixed assets. For accounts receivable, you'll see the commonly used AR BBC parameters that make up a standard BBC. Let's set the maximum eligible AR to $75,000 with an 80% advance rate. We'll set max eligible invoice days and credit memo days to 90, a concentration percentage of 20%, and cross-aging at 25%. As you see, you can also set other exclusions as you require, such as contra, government, foreign, and related. When possible, BBC will auto-detect these debtor account types using details from the borrower's accounting data. Now let's look at inventory, where there are two methods of tracking: gross or detailed inventory categories. When using the gross inventory option, the value will be automatically pulled from the borrower's accounting system. Here you can set the inventory amount not to exceed. In this case, let's say $50,000. And you can also set an advance percentage on inventory. We'll use 50%. The second option allows you to set a different advance rate for each of the three major inventory categories: raw material, work in progress, and finished goods. Borrowers will enter these values for the different categories in three separate fields. Finally, we provide an option for fixed assets. Here you specify the eligible fixed assets as a single dollar figure. Let's say this company's fixed assets are worth $25,000 and you want to advance 100%. With the parameters set, all you have to do is click Save Business and you're done with this step. At this point, we need to add users to our new business, so you're directed to the Edit Business page I mentioned earlier. At the top of the screen is listed all the lenders who have access to the business. General business information is in the middle of the screen. The accounting package field is empty until the business connects their accounting system to BBC Easy for the first time. The last section is where we list current business users and can add new users. Click the Add button for the Add User wizard. Enter in their email address and press the Check button to see if they already exist in our database. If they do, the rest of the information will be populated for you. If they don't, add their full name. A phone number is only optional. Lastly, you need to identify the level of access the new user will have. The first user for a business should always be given admin rights. This will allow them to add new users to their own business. The other options are Write, which is required for users to submit a new borrowing base, and Read, which is useful for executives and other members of the business who just need to review, not prepare the BBC. For my example, Delta Demolition, our contact is David Delta with the email address delta.demolition@testborrower.com. And as I recommended, I'll give him full admin rights. Dave will then receive an activation email notifying them that their business is ready for BBC Easy. The business can then log in, link to their accounting software, and when they're ready, submit a borrowing base certificate. Going back to the dashboard, you will now see Delta Demolition in your personal dashboard. The first time a business signs on to BBC Easy, the baseline you selected is established so both the business and the banker have instant access to the charts, history, and trends of that business.
Let's take a look at full deal testing.
Here on the Overview page, you see all the historical borrowing base certificates as well as their status, such as whether they came from the baseline or if they have been submitted by the business and have been approved or sent back. You also see the accounts receivable and BBC trending reports. The accounts receivable trending chart gives you the history and trends of the business's AR at a glance. In BBC Trending, you can see how the business's account is performing in one efficient chart. Each line in the chart represents a component of the BBC, such as accounts receivable, inventory, exclusions, and their eligible borrowing base. Let's view the details on a submitted BBC. Here you will find all the detailed BBC information and calculations in drop-down menus for your review. After reviewing this information, you can then approve or decline the BBC. If you want to see more detailed information on the calculations we performed, simply hit the View Calculations button, and here you will see every calculation performed per customer. Let's go back to the business view. One of the great features of BBC Easy is its ability to handle per customer overrides. Simply click on the Customers button, and here you will see a complete list of your business's customers. By default, all of your business's customers are governed by the parameters you set in regard to AR advance rate, concentration, etc. If you want, you can override the default parameters per customer. For example, you can set customer types like government, contra, foreign, or related.
Let's say you know that Rick's Bar and Grill is a related account. Simply select Rick's name and the Edit Customer window will appear. Set the type to related, and this account will be excluded from all future BBCs.
You can also make other per customer parameter modifications.
Say the business has a 70% default advance rate on AR, but you're okay advancing 90% on Mike Ballack. Simply set the advance rate to 90%, and this percentage will be reflected in all future BBCs.
You can similarly adjust the max eligible AR, concentration, and cross-aging percentages, and max invoice age for individual debtors. Just set the values here and press OK to save the changes. An advanced feature of the customer page is the ability to combine different customers together as a group. Perhaps a business sells to multiple departments within a large corporation, and you want to assign a concentration percentage to the company as a whole. Let's go back to the business overview. Now let's look at the Report Center. The Report Center is about quickly visualizing important data that you wouldn't normally have access to. Here you will find a seamless, smooth world of intelligent data. Above the charts are multiple reports: a business overview, a side-by-side, and the largest customer reports. In the Business Overview report, you see a historic summary of all the categories of the BBCs submitted by the business and their status. This is useful for trend analysis and auditing purposes. In the side-by-side report, you see up to the last 6 historic BBCs submitted by the business in detail. This is useful for a more detailed analysis. In the largest customer report, you can see the business's largest customers by revenue. This will assist any analysis you want to make of the risk in their customer base. Thank you for watching the tutorial video, and welcome to BBC Easy.
That's a quick overview of how BBC Easy works between the bank and the businesses. Go ahead and give it a try now by logging in at bbceasy.com. If you have more questions, you can view the product support guide online at bbceasy.com/support.